What's up, people of YouTube? I'm Karsatowski and welcome to the Karsatowski Eats YouTube channel. So as far as I'm aware of, there are probably about 3 different pretzel chains that you can find in just about any mall or some supermarkets like Walmart for the case of one of them. And today I'm going to go ahead and actually review 2 of them. One of them I do not have around here that's pretty close, and you know, I was on a little bit of a time crunch today, so eventually I might go ahead and probably place the winner of today's video into that one. But anyway, so we have someplace called We're Rollin', which is actually a little pretzel place inside of Walmart. And then we have probably the most popular pretzel brand in America, Auntie. Now, a lot of people say that these are very similar, and I do have to agree with that, but I have never really stopped to think of which one is actually better until today. So let's go ahead and taste them. All right, so I think what I'm gonna do first of all is I'm going to start off with the Auntie. Now, Auntie, pretty much everybody, for the most part, at least I'm assuming you all have had them if you're watching this video, but Auntie is just a straight up classic. Like, these pretzels are really addictive, and I don't get them as often, to be honest with you, because if I just let my cravings go wild, then I would pretty much eat these multiple times a week. And yeah, let's just say I'd be well over 250 if I had to eat these, if I just let my cravings go wild. So yeah, so that's why I don't get them as often. Anyway, so Auntie. So we have the original pretzel nuggets, and they're relatively expensive actually. I think these are about $8.50 for their regular size, and you can get a drink with it that's about an additional $5, so it's about $13 and change when you combine the drink with the cup of pretzel nuggets. But you know what, I'm willing to pay that much for Auntie because it's worth every penny. But let's see how good Auntie when it's faced with competition. They're nice and soft. If you notice how they're cooked, they're pretty much cooked top and bottom. Like, they're relatively well done. Now, a lot of times for food like this, I don't necessarily particularly care for food like a lot of baked goods that is made with dough to be cooked thoroughly, because it usually just tastes a little bit too tough. I like a lot of pretzels and like biscuits and cookies and stuff like that to be a little bit more underdone because they're a lot more chewy. But you know, these really are not that chewy compared to most soft pretzels. But I think that for Auntie with the ingredients that they use in their dough, it's actually perfectly all right. Now, they have a nice texture. You can squeeze them and, you know, just nice, soft, and golden brown exterior, and they also have a pretty decent amount of salt. It's not overbearing like you might get in your rolled gold hard snacking pretzels, especially at the bottom of the bag, but the salt in here is pretty much a perfect amount, and you could snack on this for quite a while. You can probably leave these sitting out in the bag for at least a couple hours, and they're just about as good as they are when they're nice and fresh. Okay, yeah. They don't really go bad quickly unless you like leave them sitting out at room temperature, or, you know, outside for a few hours. But these are some of the best soft pretzels that you will ever eat. I'm gonna save my ranking to the end after I've tried the competitor, but these are good. Actually, they're more than good. They're great pretzels. And if you for some reason do not care for Auntie, there's something wrong with you. And if you don't like soft pretzels much at all, yeah, there's definitely something wrong with you. I am going to be trying the competitor called We're Rollin' Pretzel Company. Now, I believe these are only located in Walmart. I've only been to one of these locations inside of a Walmart. And you can tell that this is significantly smaller than the Auntie Anne's. I'm actually going to go ahead and compare them side by side here. Yeah, pretty much about half the size. But the interesting thing about We're Rolling is they don't just give you one, they give you two. Now, these come with a pack of 2 and also a drink, and they're about probably $7.50-ish, so they're literally half the price as the Auntie Anne's, but 2 for 1 is a great deal. Now, they have smoothies at We're Rolling, and I forgot to mention that Auntie Anne's actually has like different colored lemonade, like they have blue, cherry, and some other flavors. I think original also. Auntie Anne's lemonade, I'm just going to tell you right now, is absolutely superior. I didn't really think that it was fair to compare lemonade to smoothies. And yeah, let's just say that We're Rolling smoothies are just kind of bland, a very average smoothie. So it would have been just a pure sweep with Auntie Anne's drinks if I were to compare those solely. But you know what? We're not comparing drinks today, we're comparing pretzels. Now, if you can tell the exterior of the We're Rolling pretzels, these are actually firmer as opposed to the Auntie Anne's pretzels. They're definitely soft, like the name soft pretzel, but they're not quite as doughy, at least to the touch. And they are relatively cooked pretty decently on the top and bottom. They're not as thoroughly cooked, which means that they're probably going to be a lot more underdone in the center. But let's go ahead and try the Rolling On In pretzel bites. It's got a significantly different taste to it. I thought they were going to be almost identical, but there's just an interesting taste with these bites, and I honestly really can't describe it. I've never really had a pretzel that tastes like that. It's almost like they put a little bit more sugar in these. I don't know, but I gotta tell you, the salt is pretty much almost exactly the same for the most part. There's definitely more salt on top of the cups as opposed to the Auntie Anne's, but throughout all the pretzel bites, relatively similar amount of salt for the most part overall, but I guess they probably put a little bit more extra salt into one cup to kind of balance it out, I suppose. Yeah, I don't know how to describe this taste. It is really good though. It's just very different from Auntie Anne's. Very solid. I feel like a lot of people don't really know too much about these, especially if you don't shop at Walmart, but very solid pretzel. Wow. Yeah, again, if I just allow myself to just indulge, I could eat probably about 6 of those frequently. And they also have really good icing too. I didn't get any today because I didn't want to overdo it. Yeah, but very solid pretzel for the most part. All right, now I'm gonna go with my rankings. So with Auntie Anne's overall, oh, by the way, all the flavors that they have, all the different kind of pretzels they have are pretty much the same for the most part for both of these. I did notice that We're Rolling did have some pretzel nuggets with pepperonis in them, and then Auntie Anne's has the miniature hot dogs inside of them, so that's a little different, but other than that, they're pretty much all the same for the most part. So with Auntie Anne's, I mean, the texture is really good. It's not too firm, it's not too soft, it's pretty much just perfect. Not as much salt throughout each individual nugget, so you're not just, you know, coughing so much with all that salt that you're taking in. And you know what? The sugar in the actual bite, I think, is near perfect. So I'm gonna have to rate Auntie Anne's pretzel nuggets at a solid 9 out of 10. Pretty much a near perfect pretzel. So now we have the We're Rollin' pretzel bites. So overall, they're not as thoroughly cooked from top to bottom, but that's usually what makes soft pretzels fantastic. I mentioned that there's not too much of a difference with salt, but there is actually a significant more amount of salt overall in each one of these cups as compared to the large Auntie Anne's cup. So there is a little bit more salt on here. I would assume probably most people wouldn't be too picky about that. For me, I'm not that picky either, but sometimes a little bit too much salt definitely can ruin something. In this case, it's not that bad, but definitely a little bit more salt, a little bit more underdone, which gives it a little bit more of a doughy taste. It does have a little bit more of a sugary taste though compared to Auntie Anne's, which Auntie Anne's is usually more notorious for that, but I think these have a significant more sugary taste to their dough. So all of that said, I am gonna have to rate the We're Rollin' Pretzel Company pretzel nuggets at a respectable 8 out of 10, which means that our winner for today is Auntie Anne's by 1 point. Both of these are fantastic, but overall I think Auntie Anne's has a little bit more going for the recipe overall. I feel like more people would prefer Auntie Anne's because this just tastes like it's got a lot more salt, a lot more sugar to it, and I feel like people would prefer the more simplicity to it. I know I definitely feel the same way. But anyway, both of these are really good. Again, if I were to just indulge myself every week with this, I'd probably have at least a dozen of these cups every week, which I gotta say 3 cups is probably more than enough for me to last an entire month. Just so you know, this is probably the last time I'm gonna get any of these for several months from now. So I'm not just gonna get these every single week and indulge myself. But again, 2 very respectable pretzel joints. If you have not had any of these, then just find your local shopping center or Walmart and go ahead and pick you up some. Anyway, so that's pretty much it for this ranking. So if you would like to see me rank any more restaurants, then be sure you hit that subscribe button so you'll never miss any videos. Also, if you have any suggestions at all on what I should rank next, then just comment on any one of my videos. And if I choose your topic, then I'll go ahead and put your comment on the screen somewhere and I'll shout out your YouTube channel. So let those comments fly, people. Anyway, so I'm Karsatowski. Keep watching my content and I will see you in that next video. See ya.